Okay, so this morning I was going to go over this wonderful new tool set that I have. It is used primarily for quilting. There's the grid. It's basically for a log cabin. I wasn't really sure how to use it, but if you look, you've got these 1-inch squares and you can build as you're going. You don't even have to stitch. A lot of people will use like a glue stick. And see, I've got these little squares that we used from the bag that we made a couple weeks ago. And if you look, you can just line these up. So my plan is, I've got that charm pack. If you review the video, it's got the purple charm pack. But as you can see, that is just amazing how you can just line this up and kind of build out a mini quilt. So, and you can do it on either side. And then this has the matching squares with the measurements. And the great thing about it is it's see-through. It also has a ruler along this edge. There's a lot of things that you will see as you go that you don't necessarily see the first time you look at it. I mean, it's got the 45-degree angle, the 60-degree angle, and the 30-degree angle. And it also has an intersecting 45-degree angle right here. You can use it on both ends. I like the 45-degree angle on this end, being a little bit darker and also measured in 1-inch increments along that edge. So you can line that up on the 45-degree right here on the mat. And then, of course, using a rotary cutter, you can make a perfect 45-degree cut. So, and I would demonstrate that, but I don't think I need to on this particular mat. I am going to save these things, these little pieces of fabric, and see if I can find that charm pack. I don't remember what I did with it. But that's the point of today's video. It will be a quick one because I don't have the fabric right now to start on the bag that I want to make for my older daughter, now that we've completed the one for my younger daughter. Oops, this over here. Sorry about that. Storage is kind of insane right now. But anyway, so what we're going to do on that one is quilt it. And if you look at the pattern right here, basically, if you have 2 pieces of fabric, and we're going to just use this as an example, and you sandwich in your interfacing, and we'll use this little piece right here, and then you have your other piece of fabric, like this, and you quilt, you obviously have the outer and the lining. So you don't have to make a separate piece like we did the last time. The zipper would fit along the top edge and does not have to be quilted. And if you remember, I used a lace zipper. They're so much easier and they're perfect for purses because they ride along the top. They're not enclosed in the fold of the fabric like an actual true zipper. This would be a little bit more difficult because you'd have to fold in your 1/4 inch and stitch along that line right there. But with the zipper that we created, we had it, if you recall, we had it ride right along that top edge, and it's just so much easier. So if zippers are intimidating for you, this makes it so much easier, and you would not have to worry about how to attach that to a quilted version of this bag. So my recommendation on quilting is you take a piece of fabric like this, make sure you have a friction pin or something that will wash out. Friction pins are heat erasable, and blue pins are water erasable off of cotton. So you take an Omni Grid or another ruler. I like the Omni Grid because it's clear. And you're going to line up a 45-degree on the edge of your fabric, starting at the very tip where the fold is, and then just mark those lines as far apart as you want them. So let's say you wanted to go an inch. You would slide this out 1 inch. That's why being clear is so important, because you can actually see where your next line is going to be. So you'd move all the way across like we're doing here, and then you're going to go back the other way. So we would be hitting it again like this with that pin. And as long as you don't iron over this, then you're able to quilt. You can take this to the machine, close up my pen, with a piece of interfacing. I like to use this Low Loft Warm and Natural, and then just stitch. You can use a contrasting color of thread. You can use white on this particular fabric would be cute. Excuse me, or yellow. Excuse me. And then, you know, just do a quilted pattern. If you have a quilting sewing machine, obviously you know what you're doing, and you can use freestyle, freehand designs. But that's the awesome thing about these pins. What did I do with it? Where's my pin? There he is. So if you chose to use, let me get rid of this right here. If you chose to use a different pattern, for example, let's say you wanted to do a beehive, you could literally draw a little beehive design on here, which let's just kind of freehand one. And then of course, you know, a beehive has these little lines like this. And then we'd have, say, a little opening there for the bees. And then we could have a different type right here. And a little bee door. Like that. And you could just do a series of those on your fabric, because this isn't really a quilt. This is just going to be a purse. So that would be your design. So that's another option. And the final option that I would like to suggest is, especially in the case of the fabric I happen to be using, you could just hand quilt a series of dots. As you know, that's sort of the typical with bees. So you could just take, say, a bullion rose or a French knot, and just create the series of dots like that, going from bee to bee to bee, and that would actually quilt this fabric as well. So whatever type of fabric print you're using, this is an interesting issue I've just run into here. The friction pin is not completely erasing from my fabric. So, but as I see, as it's cooling, it's kind of going away. The fabric is still really hot. So we're going to look into that too. That's another topic for another day. And then, of course, there's also the straight line quilting that we did on our handle, where you just literally just do straight lines, which is a nice touch, especially for a purse. So we are going to be doing that. I have, I'd like to use a series of colors of fabric, I think, for my older daughter. She tends to like the blues and purples and greens that you think of when you see a peacock. So that's kind of where I'm headed with that. And I might actually have some fabric here, but I'm so disorganized that I need to kind of go through my my sewing stash, organize it just a little bit better, see what I have, kind of clear some things out. I do have to make a run to Goodwill today. Remember, if you're at the Goodwill in Everett, I am going to be taking some sewing items because we'll be moving and I need to kind of thin out and clarify what I have, what I want to keep, and what I want to get rid of. So if you're interested in picking up some sewing fabrics, especially the scrap stash, absolutely head up there. I think I have a series of books as well that I'm going to be taking to Half Price Books in Everett. Let me take a look and see what I've got up here. I believe they may be in a different location. I'm not seeing the books I thought I had, but they could be anywhere. Like I said, I'm absolutely overwhelmed with a series of things that I need to take care of, but that will be happening today. So and the other thing I wanted to talk about, this little bag, I really want to finish. The only thing left to do is put a handle on it, and I'm trying to decide, you know, how I want that handle to go. There's two different ways. One would be this way, you know, if I were to make the handle go like this, the bag would tend to pull like this. Let's hold it this way so you can see. The bag would tend to pull like this. If I put a handle this way and then also on the other side, that would tend to keep it shut. So I'm kind of thinking that's the direction I'm going to go. I'm going to put a handle that will go up and around on both the front and the back. And then I'm going to start carrying this little guy. I did not do a video on this. This was a bag that I did before I started creating content for YouTube. But it is a great, it's a great way to do a pocket on a bag. Oh, and by the way, I did quilt this. This fabric has been quilted. I don't know if that's going to show up on camera. I think it might. I'm not sure. But this puppy dog flower fabric was not quilted. I did this myself, and that's basically what I'm talking about for the McCall's 5822 that we're going to do. And then I purchased this faux suede at a, I'm trying to think of what that's called. St. Vincent de Paul? No, not St. Vincent de Paul. Assistance League. Yes, I purchased this at the Assistance League, and I believe that has since closed. It's no longer located in Everett, which is hard for me to imagine. But it's lined. It has boxed corners, as you can see, and then we've got the pocket on the front here. Pockets, especially a zippered pocket, are absolutely primo. You really, really need to have some type of pocket, whether it's on the inside or the outside. And I'm going to go ahead and look for some handle fabric. And I think in this particular case, it should be a solid in one of the colorways that we have on this bag. So let me take a peek and see what I have. There's quite a lot of fabric, to be honest. Most of it is a kind of a scrap haul. My goal is to reduce this to a manageable amount so that we can easily move it. It's just huge. I think what I might do is use some denim for the handle. I don't understand why this is in there. It would be really, really great to get your input on moving. So if you've moved a sewing room, you know what I'm going through. And any suggestions that you have would be greatly appreciated. As you can see, okay, now this is a fabric I had thought about using for my daughter's bag, so I'm going to leave this out. It's just so her. And I like this little blue. I don't know if that would go, but we'll leave that out too. So I'm creating as I go. So typical. Okay, that's tone on tone. So much fabric. Pardon me again. And I have cherries. There it is. Wasn't sure if that would look good with that, but we're going to pull that out too. Maybe I won't have to go to the fabric store. Wouldn't that be nice? And I really like this. This is a nice fabric, and I think maybe at first blush it looks like maybe. Okay. Oh, and here's that charm pack, or part of that charm pack I was talking about earlier. And it would be really easy to stitch these together. This might not be a bad idea, whether I use it for the inside or the outside. It does have that color splash that my older daughter really tends to like. So, and then this is just little, oh, you know what? That might be a cute handle. All right, so let's redo this. Isn't it fun to watch somebody else go through fabric? Not really. Okay. Yeah, okay. Lots of batiste. I don't know why that's just wadded up. Okay, so I've got some selections here. Let's take a look and see what we can do. I was just thinking it would be kind of cute if we took the acorn fabric, which I have two layers of this long, which is perfect, I think. And then on the other side, if we put some denim, that would be cute as well. And the two colors look really cute together. I love the little acorns. I think that's what I'm going to do. So, why don't we just do that today? Put this zipper up. Okay. My scissors are over there. I don't need the, well, I kind of do need the bag because I need to measure. That's the other, I haven't really decided about the length on that yet. How long do I want the handles? I don't know. Okay, so most of the time, if you can find a bag that you like the length of the handles, you can kind of gauge what you're going to want based on that. Now, I know I don't want this to be a clutch purse where I'm just holding on to handles that won't fit over my shoulder. And I happen to know that for me, a length of about 22 to 26 inches is perfect. I need to press down this top edge. I never did do that part. My goal here is I want to create a very sturdy top stitch line, because this is going to be stressed to a certain point when you put those handles on. So I will be going around with a top stitch to strengthen this, and I might even do it twice. That's one of the best ways to keep that from becoming sort of dangerously overstressed. Okay, so the first thing will be to top stitch all around the edges there, and then I'm going to go ahead and make my handles 26 inches. Because I will be, actually I'm going to make them 28 inches, because I'm going to come down 2 inches on the bag. They will be down here attached with a 2-inch overlap over the top edge of that bag. So if I have to, I'll need to create a seam in order to get that length. Well, let's just go ahead and take our little measuring tool here and find out what we have. So this is 18 inches to here. 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. I'm going to go ahead and say 27 because there's no reason to make a seam for 1 inch. That's just silly. So we're going to do 27 and just have an overlap of 1 inch. That'll be fine. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is cut this seam on this pair of blue jeans off. I don't need to be messing with that. And I think I'll go ahead and cut the hem that was left. That flat fell seam is going to probably have to go as well when I get to the middle part. Or I'll just turn this on top of itself and stay away from that flat fell seam right here. My thumb ring makes it impossible sometimes to take this pair of scissors off my hand. We have that battle every day. Okay. It's just red thread. Alright, so I basically have some free and clear denim here. Yep. That I believe will make what I'm looking for happen. But I am pressing it flat so I'll know for sure if I'm going to have enough fabric. Using your iron as a sewing notion is extremely helpful. And another helpful tool is if you're working with a lot of lightweight cotton, if you'll spray it with your spray starch and then just kind of ball it up into a loose little ball. Put it in a zipper bag and put it in the freezer for about a half an hour. It's so much easier to work with after you press it out. So you take it out of the freezer and then just press it. You don't have to put any more starch on it. And it really does seem to help the fibers of the cotton mesh well together. Okay, I don't really need that up underneath, so yeah. The denim is obviously a lot heavier than the little acorn fabric, so I'm just trying to figure out the best way to cut this. I think I know. Okay, well, that was nice and loud. going to use this. And I'm going to draw, what I would like to have is a width of, Bama, stay out of there. I have a puppy who's very curious. If he hears anything hit the floor, it's like, oh, is that for me? All right, 1, 2, 3. So I kind of need a width. Perfect. 4, 5, 6. I'll mark that with my friction pen. I'm going to have to do that all the way down to the very end. Just going to sort of move that. Now I can use this line right here to complete my line. Okay, there we go. And now I'm just going to cut all 4 layers right along that line. It may slip and slide, so just take your time. You obviously would not have to do it this way, but the denim is a little bit heavier, and I don't want to move it. I don't want that to shift out of place. And I may end up having to square off these ends. I might lose a little bit of length. I don't know at the moment. I'm not going to save that. I have too much old denim. All right, so as you can see, this right here is a little wonky. I'm going to have to flip this over because that line right there, I need to just square this up. So I'm probably going to lose about 1/2 inch, maybe a little bit more. Okay. So all in all, I've ended up with a total of 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27 on the nose. Okay, so now the way this works for making a handle like this is you fold, this fabric is facing right side up. So what we're going to do is fold this, fold it in half. And press, making sure it's folded right in half. Okay. Then you unfold, and we're going to fold this. I'm just pulling this out. It's a little wiggy along that line right there. Okay. And now we're going to fold that toward that center line that we just pressed down. And that makes it so much easier to fold this fabric perfectly using that halfway mark. Okay. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side, meeting up those 2 raw edges so that our handle is now folded right in half, which is what we want. This is the width, the finished width of our handle is this length, this width right here, I mean. Okay. What about those raw edges? Well, I will show you as soon as I get this pressed down. So I've got one side. So the other side of the handle is going to be this piece of denim. Now, I mean, I could just let this be the handle, but I want a really sturdy and decorative, sort of stylized handle. And obviously, that's what I'm going to get with 2 pieces of fabric as opposed to 1. Okay. We're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to fold it to the center where we just pressed that fold line. So one side goes up to that fold. And the other side comes down to meet the raw edge at the fold, just like that. Now, denim, of course, is a little heavier fabric and might take a little bit more manipulating, but you know, you can do it, especially with old denim that you've had, you know, an old pair of jeans. Just use that fabric. Okay, so this will now be stitched like this, and this will be our handle right here. So one side will be this and one side will be that. But before we do all of that stitching, what we need to do is finish off these ends. And there are several different ways that you can do it, and I've seen some really, really cute ones. One is leave them alone, just like they are, and take a piece of your fabric. I think in my case I would use this. So, and this is what I'm going to do, because I want a little bit of length on that. So I need to take a piece of fabric that is, press this out. I have quite a lot of this. I mean, I have plenty of this acorn fabric and can use what I need. But this should be right here, about 1.5 inches, and it is exactly 1.5 inches. So I need this fabric right here to be 2.5 inches square. So the way you do that is we're going to take the clear plastic Omni Grid right here, and I've got my 1 and my 2. I'll just do it this way, and then I don't have to worry about marking it. And I'm going to go up to the 2, and now I have a 2.5 inch